my parents were drug addicted and just weren't in the right place in life for raising children. And my mother and my father really abandoned me and my sister at a really young age. And I was 4 and she was about 6 years old whenever my grandparents got full custody. And I mean, it was like sudden, so they they got a call in the middle of the night, said, "Hey, come get the kids. We can't raise them anymore." And we were already so back and forth anyways. So they kind of knew it was coming, but got the call and they drove 5 hours to Pensacola, Florida and got me and my sister. And, after that, I didn't see my mother again for 10 years.
Back to the wall, looking for a way out, on the edge, headed for a breakdown. Fear and guilt had shackled me. You shook the ground, tore off the prison doors, gave me hope and life worth living for, more than I did believe. Now I am a soul set free, my God's alive in me. Something worth singing, it's something worth singing about. No, now not even the grave could steal this life away. And it's something worth singing, something worth singing, something worth singing about.
My father, he was in and out of jail. And not long after that, my my sister Sarah, she ended up getting diagnosed with brain cancer. A big long, name I can't pronounce, but at that point it was an adult form of cancer, but she was only 8 years old, so they had typically only seen this type of this type of cancer in adults. And back then, in the early 2000s, I think this was around 2000, 2001, there really wasn't much they could do for it. Shout out to Children's Hospital, though. I mean, they did everything they could. But my sister, about a year later after being diagnosed, she passed away. And it was, really, really tough for me. Really tough for me and really difficult to handle. And I really think there's a lot of trauma that we suppress over the years, even if we don't want to talk about it. And I was that person that didn't really want to talk about it. Even into my early 20s, I didn't want to talk about it. Even as a Christian artist leading worship, I didn't really talk about it. But I knew, looking back, that was a huge driving force for me to do something so much greater with my life and trying to not right the wrongs of the past, but also break some of those generational chains and to forge a new future.
Singing about freedom, singing about mercy, I stand for freedom, and my soul is been redeemed. I am a soul set free, my God's alive in me. Oh, and it's something worth singing, something worth singing about. No, now not even the grave could steal this life away. And it's something worth singing, something worth singing, something worth singing about. Ooh, oh, that's something worth singing about.
Something worth singing about. I wrote it with a good friend of mine named Jay Spate, and he's also the producer on that song. And me and him we were sitting around talking about church culture, and we have the lyrics on the screen and we sing the same songs over and over and over, and I think a lot of times it's not intentional, it's not malicious, but just sometimes we forget why we're singing it and we forget who we're singing it to, and it becomes a monotonous thing that we're doing. Growing up, I sang the same hymns 1,000 times, but maybe only a couple of times I ever sat down and really reflected on what those meant, like the Old Rugged Cross, like such a powerful hymn that I've sang so many times that sometimes I forget how powerful that really is and what we're actually singing about and the message of the cross through that song, for example. So we took that idea of how sometimes we forget that and we turned it into a song, and that, hey, there really is, the reason we sing is this, there is something we're singing about. We're not just trying to sing for singing's sake. We're trying to say, hey, there is an actual message behind this. And what's so wonderful about worship music and Christian music is that our songs are defined by our lyrics, which are defined by Christ. So I think spiritually we have to remember that this isn't just another song on the radio. This isn't just something to pass the time or just something to keep us entertained. It's actually got a message within it that relates back to the cross, that relates back to our Savior. Yeah, I hope that answers your question.
My soul has been redeemed.